model? Welcome back to How to Cake It Tuesday. I'm going to turn Walter, my friend Walter Mellon, into a cake. Don't worry. You're not going to be baked right. You're just going to model. You like modeling, don't you? You have the right eyes. Walter doesn't have a problem with eyes. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to bake pink velvet cake. That's right. Like red velvet, but pink. And I'm going to speckle that cake with chocolate chips to represent watermelon seeds. And then I'm going to cover this cake in white fondant, which will represent the rind, and paint the outside to look exactly like Walter. The only problem with Walter is he is a little bit quiet. Walter, don't be mad. I'm just saying, like, you could talk a little bit more. Yes. I begin by baking 3 9-inch round pink velvet cakes, as well as a bowl of pink velvet cake that's 9 inches round in diameter. I remove them from their pans and the bowl and level them with my ruler and my serrated knife. Pink velvet cake is just red velvet cake, but instead of red food coloring, I used pink. I baked some chocolate chips into each cake layer as well as the bowl. I sort of put them in halfway, but chips always sink in cake batter because they have weight. That's okay, we're not going to sweat it. I begin with my classic Italian meringue buttercream, and I'm going to start to dye it pink. And what I actually did this time was I used red buttercream and mixed it into my white. If you want to make my Italian meringue buttercream, I have a video tutorial. I'll walk you through every step. Just click the link right here. Don't put it in front of Walter's face. Right now he's pissed. When I fill this cake, I actually want to fill it with a buttercream tinted the same as the cake, so that when we slice the watermelon, you just see pink and seeds like a watermelon. I know. And I know, Walter, I didn't even cut you open to see the inside. So you're welcome. And as I fill the layers with the pink tinted buttercream, I also put some chips in the buttercream. This is a really seedy watermelon. You know those seedy watermelons, right? I know you're seedless. I know. I totally know. In order to stack this watermelon cake, I start with 1 round cake, buttercream with chocolate chips, another round cake, buttercream and chocolate chips, another round cake, buttercream and chocolate chips, and then the bowl cake like a dome on top. A watermelon wouldn't have a cake crust in it, obviously. They don't know, Walter. I have to tell them. So I don't have to carve this cake really, but I do have to cut away all of the crust so that we just see pink watermelon and then white rind. So I just use my serrated knife to go around the cake, over the dome, and all the way around to cut off all the edges of the pink velvet cake. Time to crumb coat my watermelon and pop it in the fridge to chill before I ice it once more. Once my cake is chilled, I take it out of the fridge and I ice it again. Right, Walter? I ice it as smoothly as I can, and then it's time for fondant. I roll out my white fondant and cover the cake. It actually kind of looked like a chubby ghost when I first covered it. The nice thing about it is it doesn't have edges, so you don't have to worry as much about your fondant cracking or ripping down the sides. It's a nice gradual curve on the cake. My watermelon rind is perfect. Now I need to paint this cake to make it look like a watermelon, and my model hasn't even shown up yet. Were you out partying last night? I mean, you're really tired, you were late. I couldn't find him. I don't know, he was probably at a juice bar or something like that. So I called Walter, I had to go pick him up. I finally got Walter in my kitchen. It's time to paint. I did a mixture of different greens. I did some Kelly green and some moss green, and then I added actually a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red. So if you'll notice, watermelons, they're very, like, there's a lot of depth to them. You know, it's not just flat green. It's not. I know, Walter, I know, I'm trying to tell them. So I start by painting this sort of lightest green over here. And, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to poke you in the eye. First I paint the lightest coat of green onto the watermelon. I brush it on liberally and let it sort of drip down and make sure to cover the entire cake. I went back and deepened my green, and then I sort of speckled all the way around the cake with a paintbrush, just speckled. Try not to think about it too much, keep it looking natural, all the way around the cake. Then I really deepened my food coloring to get this sort of darkest green that's on the watermelon. A watermelon is kind of striped, so I took the darker green and made stripes, let it drip down, and then went back and sort of speckled and just sort of blurred out the stripes so it wasn't a definite hard line. And then I went back with the same dark green and just sort of speckled here and there, just till I thought it looked right. I just kept playing with it until Walter really told me, enough. Once the final coat of paint is on and I'm happy, I'm really going to let this watermelon dry. Oh, I forgot something. You have to add the little... Walter, can I show them your head? Oh, that's... Oops. I guess I made his bottom. Gotta make the little, like, nub. Is it called a watermelon nub? Really, when I ask you these questions, I'm testing you. I know what it is. If you know what it is, just write it below. But I have to make this little nub, so I take a little bit of cream-colored fondant. I use a ball tool to push into my cake. I place the cream fondant in. I place another little piece of fondant on top, and then I just sort of play around with it, adding some texture and pressing it in until I'm happy with the way it looks. And then I painted the little nub with some ivory food coloring and a bit of green food coloring. Oh! I told you it was a nude modeling gig. Don't say I didn't tell you that. My watermelon cake is looking beautiful. I'm so proud of it. I'm going to just let it dry. And then I'm going to, what do you do with watermelon? You cut it open and you eat it. It's always fun cutting into cakes, but with this one, I was so curious to see how it looked on the inside because it's such a big part of the cake. Watermelons are just as beautiful inside as they are out. I slice a big wedge out of this watermelon cake.
Oh my God.
Shut.
Oh my God.
I'm so happy to see the pink shade of the cake, the chocolate chips looking like seeds, the white fondant looking exactly like rind with the painted outside just like a watermelon skin. I offered Walter a slice, but he felt weird about that. Want to take a selfie? Smile, Walter! If you like Dirty Dancing, subscribe. If you don't like Dirty Dancing, watch it, like it, and then subscribe. Walter's in Dirty Dancing.